today for the show who refuse to sit in the same room together. In fact, Susan and her ex-husband, Dwayne, have a mutual restraining order, which means that they cannot be within 100 feet of each other. Now, they're in the middle of a very, very unique custody battle over their children. And, Susan, why don't you fill us in as to what this custody battle is all about?
Well, right now, my ex-husband thinks I'm a bad mother because I smoke.
Wait a minute.
You know, my point is not, that's not the issue at hand. We have been fighting this custody battle for 3 years now. And if this was such an issue to him, then how come 3 years ago he did not decide to file a court order prohibiting me from smoking in my own home,
Susan,
in front
what
of
else
the children?
would you call yourself?
This is something.
What else would you call yourself? A parent's responsibility is to the safety and health of their children, and you are pumping carbon monoxide right into their lungs. How could you not be anything
You do not
but
know
a
how
bad
much
mother?
I smoke, where
I know
I
exactly
smoke.
how much you smoke. I know that you committed to stop smoking before Sarah was even born. That was over 7 years ago. You didn't do it. You committed to stop smoking when Shane was born. Not only that, you had a complicated pregnancy and you still didn't stop
What was the
smoking.
complicated pregnancy?
Placenta previa. You were
Which has
bedridden
nothing
for 3
to do
months.
with smoking.
And your doctor
Smoking
told you to
and
stop
placenta
smoking.
previa
Your
are
doctor
not
told you
related
to
whatsoever.
stop smoking.
Okay, hold on a minute,
for the health of
Dwayne.
your children.
Dwayne, hold on a second.
Okay, you say that smoking was unhealthy during the pregnancy. My first child weighed 9 pounds 11 ounces.
We were lucky.
And your second child, Wade?
Okay, he was born 3 weeks premature due to the
wonder why.
placenta previa, and he weighed 7 pounds 3 ounces. The doctor said if he went the full term, he would have been a 10-pound baby. And it was not a result of the smoking.
Just so all of us can know, wait a minute, Dwayne, can we find out what placenta previa is? What is
It's
that?
a condition where during the pregnancy, the placenta, which is normally above the womb, or at the top of the placenta, or
At the top of the uterus?
anyhow, yes,
right?
it attaches itself below. And
Right.
it attached to the cervix, which meant it was going to have to be a C-section birth.
Right, and that can
That
happen.
is not.
That can happen
It is
due to
a
a late
1 in a
pregnancy.
million case, but it has nothing to do with smoking whatsoever. My doctor knew I smoked. He asked me at the very first appointment with him, are you a smoker? And I said, yes.
Okay.
And he goes,
And he asked
how
you to
much did
stop.
your first child weigh? I said, 9 pounds 11 ounces. That doctor never, ever brought that subject up again.
He
Okay,
asked
now,
you to
wait a minute,
stop.
Dwayne. I'm going to get you in a second. Just hold on, okay?
All right.
Now, for you, Susan, when you first divorced and separated,
Yes.
or separated and you were divorced, who had custody of the children? Was it joint custody, or did you have
At
custody?
the beginning, I was getting very tired of a lot of the lies and the problems that I was having with Dwayne. So I had gone to stay with my mother for a few days and start counseling.
A few days
And during
you
the
left.
counseling,
You
I
just
decided
left.
I did not want to be married to him. I just could not. There was just too many problems.
Susan, you left because you were having an affair, and I wasn't going to put up with it anymore.
That
and
is
that's just the reality.
untrue. He
Okay.
has
That's the
accused
reality.
me of having 75 affairs. He said I had one with my psychology teacher, with a younger student in school.
Your
the fact is,
ex-stepfather,
he is so
your bosses,
angry.
your co-workers. I mean,
Okay.
it's just the reality.
I'll tell you what, Dwayne, I'm gonna let you in here in a second. I really need to hear one piece, then I can hear the other piece, rather than hear you step on each other.
Sure.
So let me hear what Susan has to say, then I'll ask you the same number of questions, okay? Just hold tight. So when you were initially divorced, who got custody of the
Okay,
kids?
at the very beginning, up until recently, it was Dwayne had him at first every week, and I only had him weekends. And then they gave it 50-50 down the line. Week on with him, week off, or week on with me, back and forth, back and forth. Now, I take care of the commuting of the children to the school that is near Dwayne's home. I take that responsibility. And I also take the responsibility of paying child support to
Okay.
Dwayne.
You pay child support to Dwayne.
Yes.
So now, he went back into court and asked for what?
He is, well, I did not know until I got the call from your show indicating that Dwayne has decided to file a court order prohibiting me from smoking in the home, and he's trying to use this as the last-ditch effort before we go to court in a few weeks to get a final decision on our custody battle.
Okay.
After
That's not what
3
this is
years,
about at all.
now he makes the decision to do this.
Okay.
If he cares so much about the children, why did he not do this 3 years ago?
All right, now, Dwayne, let's come back to you. The divorce, I really, it doesn't matter.
No.
The two of you are divorced.
Right.
So it doesn't matter, and the issue here is not one's infidelity or another's infidelity.
Right.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about smoking in the home. You have now gone into court and asked that a stipulation be put on that she doesn't even get to see the kids. Explain what you have asked for.
What I'm asking for is that she be prohibited from smoking in their presence and around them, in the car, at the home, anywhere where they're going to be in proximity to breathe the smoke.
Okay, does that mean so she can smoke in her own home when the children are not there, she just cannot smoke in her home when the children are there?
Exactly.
And he's asking for the children to be the ones policing this action.
Absolutely not.
The
I'm
children,
not asking that in any way,
you
shape, or
have done
form.
that in the past. You've
No, I
asked the
haven't.
children, tell
No, I
me if
haven't.
mommy spanks you.
No, I haven't.
Tell me if mommy hits
No, I
you.
haven't.
Tell me if mommy
My
yells at you.
children have a great relationship with me, and I don't have to ask them things. They know that parents are not gods, and if a parent is doing something that's in violation of their health and welfare, they're going to tell me, or they're going to tell you, or they're going to tell somebody in charge that can get it taken care of.
Now, how old are these children in question right now?
Sarah is
7
7 and a half, and Shane is 4.
And 4. So a 4-year-old is very capable of at least identifying what social behaviors are appropriate or inappropriate. Is that right?
And I do
Absolutely.
tell him my smoking is yucky. You know,
That's great.
it is yucky because I want him to, you know, maybe it's, you know, it's my choice that I made to smoke. But right now, I don't want him to think it's something that's good for him because I don't want my
What a wonderful
4-year-old
role
picking up
model.
a cigarette. I make every attempt to keep it away from them. I have a lovely home with a nice backyard and a screen room. I take it outside.
Okay.
After I've dropped my children off to school and daycare, then I can have a cigarette.
You
But-
smoke outside. You don't smoke in the car, and you don't smoke around them now.
That never stopped you before.
But I'm asking you, Susan, do you smoke around them now, yes or no?
I try to keep it away from them. I
No,
will.
do you, yes or no?
In another room, yes.
No.
Okay.
And if
But
they come into the room, or if I walk through the room they're in, yes, they are exposed to that minimal amount of smoke.
All right.
I smoke much less than I smoked when I was married to Dwayne
Come on,
because the
Sue,
stress level
Sue,
is
let's,
down.
Let's do this face to face. It's a mutual restraining order. I won't tell on you. You won't tell on me. Is that fair?
Yeah, can we do this? Because this argument
this
from
face
one
to
room, we
face.
got Dwayne back here in the back and another room, and can you do this face to face? Will you sit down?
I
What's the
will
matter?
sit down.
You afraid
You're
of
not in the same state that your restraining order's on, so we
Come
can
on.
technically do
I
that.
know, but
Exactly. Oh,
I
come
still
on,
have
so
a
what are
fear
you
of him.
afraid of?
You know.
You have a fear of him?
Yes,
Oh,
there's
give me a
been,
break.
he pleaded no contest recently,
Susan,
a year ago
Susan.
to a
No, I did not plead
harassment
no
charges.
contest to that.
So when
I
we
did not
separate the
plead no
chairs and you can sit on the
Separate
same
the
side?
chairs.
And I'll just kind of be the referee in the middle, and just in case anything happens, we'll stop it. Okay, and we'll be back right after this. We've been talking about what happens in a family when one parent smokes and the other doesn't, and then there's a divorce, and one parent uses that to get custody. And this is very odd. We've been talking to Susan and Dwayne. Dwayne, come on out here now, please. Yes. And again, because of this mutual restraining order, you both agree to be here present, so I'm doing my duty, and okay, so I can't get in trouble for putting you in the same 100 feet of each other. Okay, now, Dwayne, first, let's get to this. You knew she was a smoker when you first met her.
Sure. Yeah.
You dated her.
Yeah.
You loved her.
Yeah.
You said, will you marry me?
Sure.
And you got married.
Yeah.
You had a couple kids.
Mhm.
She smoked the entire time.
Yes.
She smoked while she was in your house.
Yes.
If she was still in your house and you were still together, she'd probably still be smoking today.
No.
Why?
In February, Shane, our son, had an asthma attack. That would have been the straw. That would have
Okay.
been it. He's 4 years old, one asthma attack. I want it to be the last he ever has in his life.
Now, I've checked into that. He had a fever of 102, and my understanding of asthma is there are no fevers associated with asthma.
You
I
told me,
took-
you called me
they
and
treated
told me
him for
your
symptoms
son has
of-
an asthma attack,
they-
and this is the medication he was on, which
If
you never
you
gave
had-
to me, by the way.
If you had
But
paid attention,
you
I-
said he had asthma. I called the doctor. I
said
spoke with the
he
doctor
had-
Wait,
myself.
Dwayne and Susan, you know, I don't understand how you guys
I
can even
said
talk
he
about
had
anything if
symptoms.
neither of you lets the other one talk.
Okay. He
Yes.
had symptoms of asthma. I told you, these are the medications. You know, I didn't have the name of the medication, but I wanted you to be aware. You are his father,
told
and
me
I
the name
wanted
of
you
the
to be aware.
medication.
Okay? At the time, I didn't, okay? Excuse me.
On the phone, you did.
However, he had a reaction. I took him back in. I asked the doctor, though, is this a result of my smoking? No, it could be croup, but we're going to treat it as asthma because he is having a respiratory problem. The respiratory problem only happened late at night, in the middle of the night, accompanied by a high fever. It lasted for 2 days, and that was it.
And it hasn't occurred since?
No, it has
and
not.
it never will.
Okay, all right. Yes, ma'am.
Why don't you make your ex-husband eat his words and prove your love by stopping the smoking?
I'm
She
sorry,
said
I
why-
didn't hear that.
She said, why don't you stop smoking?
That's my choice, okay? My ex-husband has already told me that he's going to make sure I can't even watch a dog, let alone our own children.
Well, how should you be able to watch your children when you obviously don't have their health in
You
your
don't know,
Yeah,
okay?
I do know.
When do I have
I do
time?
know.
I come home
What did you
from
tell
work.
me in 1985 when you got pregnant with Sarah? I'd made a commitment all my life, since I started smoking at 16 years old, that I would finally stop when I got pregnant. Did you?
But you
No,
don't
you
smoke.
didn't smoke. I
You
don't
don't
care if
smoke.
I
You
don't.
don't
Why
know
don't I
how
smoke?
hard
Because
it
I have respect for my body, and I certainly have respect for my children.
Yeah, but to make this blanket statement, Dwayne, that anybody who smokes doesn't have respect for the children is really a blanket statement.
Well, it is a blanket statement,
is.
but it
I
is the truth.
take the responsibility of taking it outside, keeping
Susan,
away.
you didn't
I
take
don't
the
have the
responsibility to
time.
stop when you were pregnant. How can you expect anybody,
Okay.
and certainly me, who knows you better than anybody,
Sarah's birth
to
weight was
believe that
really
you will stop?
affected by being pregnant. She weighed 9 pounds, 11 ounces.
We were
I was
lucky.
only 5'2",
We were
120
lucky. There's
pounds.
an inch-thick report that I have from the Environmental Protection Agencies that says we were lucky.
No,
And
it
I
wasn't.
will
Look,
sure those
I
children
took
are.
So we're
care
not going to
of
argue the
myself.
Environmental Protection Agency, but the issue also becomes, is this something that has come up because you now know that
Oh, he
Susan's
wants-
involved in a relationship and she's being happy?
Yes,
And so
yes.
this is another way for
It's
you to control her?
He wants the last-minute control
Susan,
over my
stop
life
flattering
before the
yourself.
cut to the end.
Stop flattering
3
yourself.
years.
Stop flattering
3
yourself.
years. Why now? You could have done something
Stop
about it
flattering
if
yourself,
you love
sweetheart.
those children so
I
much.
want
Why
nothing
did
more
you not
to do
make
with
it an
you
issue
than just a
when
phone
you
call
started
about the
custody
children.
battle?
So just stop flattering yourself, okay? The years that I had with you were so horribly boring and disgusting, I want nothing more to do with it, okay?
Well, that was your doing, Mr. Couch
No,
Potato.
it was your doing, Miss Going.
Okay, hold on a minute. Yes, sir.
I'm getting back to the respiratory problem.
Sure.
Even if he's coughing or have any signs of coughing, wouldn't you just like stop smoking completely
Okay, I
around him?
keep the cigarettes away from the children, okay?
No, you
I
don't.
do. You
smoke
do
in the
not
car.
live in my home.
You smoked in the car.
You
I
do not
lived
live-
in your home, and let me tell you, you did
And
not
then
keep it
when
away.
I moved out, you moved your smoking sister in.
My sister did not
Yes,
smoke.
she did.
She did not smoke.
Yes, she did.
Yeah,
She
Dwayne,
did not.
Dwayne, there is a
I
question.
saw her
Absolutely not.
ashtrays filled when
Absolutely
I go to pick
not.
up
Dwayne, there is a question. When Susan did move out, you do have relatives and friends that have come over your house and smoke in your house.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, I had no friends that smoke, and my sister did move in for a 2-month period of time, and she is a smoker, but she never, ever smoked in my house.
She did.
Ever.
Yes,
yes, sir.
I
Were
would
you
go
there?
to that house. Yes, I would. I would go to pick up the children while you were gone. And your sister was there, and she'd be puffing
You
away
never
while...
picked up the children when I wasn't
Oh,
there.
yes,
Never.
I had.
Oh, no.
From
Okay,
your
hold on
sister.
just a second. Both of you, yes, sir.
I'm just curious. The kids sound kind of trapped between this. If Dwayne is
are.
asking the kids to monitor her smoking,
I'm never asking the kids to monitor
who
her
actually
smoking.
doing the policing of what she's doing in her
Well,
home?
quite frankly,
The
once a
children.
restraining order comes up, the difficulty of how do I monitor this is probably impossible. But let me tell you something. I've told my children to look both ways before they enter the street. They still might get hit by a car, but I'm still going to tell them to look both ways. And
Yeah,
I'm still
you're
going to
telling them
protect
to
them.
look both ways because you're not out in the front yard watching them. At least
Because
I
that's
watch
what a
what I do
responsible
around
parent
them.
does, is teach their children the trappings of life. Not sit in their house.
Okay, hold on, Dwayne. Yes, ma'am.
I'm a medical student. I just want to make sure that we get all the scientific facts straight, whether it's a
But you're a student, so you're not a graduate yet, so I
That's
don't
right.
know how factual your statements could be. Okay, so just
Right.
give your information.
qualified by
Thank
that. A 9-pound baby aside, and whether it's asthma or something else, there's no question that smoking in parents and pregnant mothers leads to all kinds of complications in the children. And children have more infections of all kinds. It's not just asthma. It's not just birth weight, sudden infant death syndrome.
Okay, but wait a minute.
ear
Okay,
infection.
okay, we got that. We got all
You
that. But you know,
didn't try
I gotta go back to it. Not that I'm gonna defend smokers or go against smokers, but I'm gonna say something to you. Why did this all of a sudden start happening like last year or 2 years ago? Why did all this information you're talking about and all the symptoms and the sicknesses and the illnesses
People are
of
getting
kids?
bored. They want something
Wait a
to
minute,
argue
Susan.
about.
I'm trying to get, because she's my fact here, my fact person. Why did this all start happening like last year or 2 years ago?
I think a lot of it's been known for a long time, and you know, any doctor that tells you otherwise is really doing you a disservice,
But
or
I
he
know-
or she doesn't know the facts.
My mother smoked, and everybody in her age group smoked that she was friends with around me. And I don't have asthma. I didn't have any undue illnesses other than me drinking perfume and other stupid stuff that I used to do. I grew up as a very healthy child. I played football, I ran track, I lift weights. But all of a sudden, it just seems like all of a sudden that it's killing everybody and their brother. And I'm just trying to figure out why, if you guys are the fact people and the people who are so knowledgeable, how come you didn't tell us that 15 years ago?
We never looked.
Okay.
Montel, I'll tell you why it took me so long. I didn't know I could do it. And when Shane got the asthma attack, it really scared me. I read an article in the local paper in San Jose about a gentleman in Boston, Joe LaMacchia, who's the founder of Parents Against Secondhand Smoke. I got a hold of him, and I found out, you can do this. You can make another parent stop smoking around the children.
But it's not
That's
that.
why
It's the
I started.
control.
But now here's the
no
other
control.
thought.
Stop
The other
flattering
thought is,
yourself.
but Dwayne, here's the other thought. The other thought is, if it's a matter of saying to Susan, yes, you can have custody. You can share in this custody. Just don't smoke around the children. Susan, why can't you just say, I won't smoke around the children?
I make that attempt. I do
No,
not.
not an attempt.
I know. Okay. It
Don't
is
smoke
very
around children.
difficult when you're in your home and your children in one room and they're doing something, playing a game or watching something, and I go out in the patio and I'm having one out in the patio. It's completely surrounded by windows and screens, and the children come out there. Am I going to have to run away from them
Is that
everywhere?
what Sarah told me you told her you were just going to make her go away whenever you were smoking?
No, I go away when I smoke.
No, that's not what she told me.
All right, well, that's the question. You still didn't answer. Well, why not just not smoke around them? If they do come out, you put it out. And then you say, okay, go back in, Mommy's smoking right now. You stand aside. I'm out here 50 feet away. You stay there. I'm going to stay right here. I'm going to watch you because you're in the bedroom. And I'll smoke out here, and she comes back outside again. You put it out.
Okay, I do that.
Cigarettes are only, what, $3
Okay,
a pack?
I
don't know what it is.
I
Two
don't.
video pack?
I do not smoke much around my children. I do not have the time. I have to do laundry. I have to cook dinner. I have to clean rooms. I have homework. I don't have the time for myself to sit down and have a cigarette because my children are
So
taking
you'll do
first
it when they're
priority.
around.
Okay.
No.
You'll just grab the
All right, so we're going to take a little break. When we come back, we're going to meet a woman who is the first woman in this country to lose custody of her kids because she smoked. We'll be back right after this. We've been talking about parents who are in a battle over custody because one parent or the other parent smokes. And in this country today, if you were a heroin addict today and you went in and sought treatment, that's probably something that would not be the grounds for you to lose your child. Most people would not take your child away over that. If you were a person who had a record and a history of speeding tickets, even with your kids in the car, which is endangering your child, you probably would not lose your child. If you're an alcoholic today, most parents would not lose their child because they're an alcoholic. Name the list of things that you do that are vices that people think are vices, and you probably wouldn't lose your child over it. But our next guest, Casey Mitchell, is the first person in this country to lose the custody of her child because she smoked. Casey, how did this happen?
Until I really don't know. I was never given a chance to quit smoking. I really didn't realize it was that big of an issue. I was asked a lot of different questions during the trial, and my attorney kept telling me that this is not grounds to take custody away from a mother, to break custody.
And when was this trial?
This was April of 90.
April of 1990. And the judge came back and said?
That he granted custody to my ex-husband on the grounds that I smoked cigarettes as well as my mother.
And therefore, you lost custody. Did you have visitation with your child after this?
I have every other weekend.
Now, since this has happened, when's the last time you smoked?
It's been 3 years. It'll be 3 years in August.
The day that the judge
Yes, sir.
made this decision, you quit smoking?
Yes.
And have not smoked since?
Not a cigarette.
And did the judge ever offer you the option to quit smoking?
No, he did not.
So it's very plain and simple that you would have done so had the judge said, either you quit smoking or I'll take your children.
Yes, definitely. As a matter of fact, his attorney asked me would I be willing to quit smoking, and I said yes, I would. He also asked me, would your mother be willing to quit smoking? I said, I cannot answer for her. You can ask her yourself. And I said, yes, I would be willing to quit smoking.
And they went ahead and made the decision that they made.
Did.
Now, what does it cost you so far to even try to make an appeal in this?
Well, it's already cost me $15,000. It cost me my job, and I ended up having claim bankruptcy.
And you still want to go back in the court and battle for custody of your child.
Yes, I do.
And to do this, to start this ball rolling again, I mean, just, I saw some of the figures and some of the information that was provided to me. I mean, it's going to cost you almost $20,000 to go back and prove that you're a good mother. You were a good mother to begin with anyway, correct?
Yes, yes.
And you were a mother who was willing to quit, and you quit. So I don't understand why now you have to go back and prove that you were a good mother.
Because you smoke doesn't mean you're a bad mother. It's your choice. You know, I smoked before I had children. I smoked when I practically still was one. You know, it's a decision I made. But
Wanna know the
don't
irony
say you're
with regards
bad.
to Casey's case
I
is
can teach
in
my
October
children.
of 1992, the evaluation of custody came back that it be 50-50. I agreed. Sue did not. She wanted sole custody. I was willing to share custody. I simply wanted to stop smoking
No.
around the children.
The reason I'm
Period.
asking for more custody is because, in my opinion, the children do not need to be dragged back and forth across town to go to school. They need to be in
You're the one that moved across town, not me.
Well, I have the time. I have the time to focus on them. I have normal working hours. I have a steady job, and I've had
A
one
steady job.
home.
You have been through 4 jobs in the 3 years
It's a
we've
lot
been
better
apart.
than
But Dwayne, at the same time, for you to
Two.
complain, Dwayne, for you to complain about her job, she pays you child support.
That's right. I'm not complaining about a job.
I gotta tell you, I don't know if you've been listening to yourself, Dwayne, as you're speaking through this, and I'm telling you, I'm not a proponent on Susan's side, but if you're listening to yourself, you're doing more complaining about Susan personally. You said you were the most disgusting time I've spent in my life was with you as I'm married. You're doing more complaining. Are you just doing this because you want an opportunity to take a shot at her, and you know this is the only way you can
Yes.
get?
This is about people. This is about people, and their names are Sarah and Shane. And it's my responsibility to make sure that they're safe,
Well, then guess
to
what?
make sure that they're
Then,
healthy,
Dwayne, I tell you,
make sure that they
that's what this
mature.
discussion has been about, and as we've talked about this, you keep
She
every
brought up the
opportunity you
fact that
get.
it was a job.
But every opportunity-
Exactly. I never said anything about jobs. She brought up that she had a stable job. I simply said, wait a minute, you've been through a lot of jobs, so if they're
Well,
stable...
it doesn't matter how many she's been through as long as she's making enough money to pay you.
I never complained about her jobs, or how many she
Even up
has,
until
or
August,
where
I
she
was
travels.
paying spousal support. The man has a job, but I still had to pay spousal
You
support.
didn't
child
ever
support.
pay spousal
Oh,
support,
yes,
simply
I
child
did.
support.
I want to know what's more
Absolutely
important, smoking or your kids?
My children.
So why don't you stop?
This is the first time this issue came to light, okay? Nobody
This issue
has,
came to light
he has
when
not,
you were pregnant both times.
he has, in this 3 years of custody, he has never said, hey, Sue, you know, I want you to quit.
Yes,
This
I
is
have.
going to become an issue if you do not. He has never asked me. He has
I've
never,
asked you numerous
nothing
times,
on,
stop smoking
we have
around
restraining
the
orders.
children.
We've had
I
restraining
asked your
orders. He
mother,
cannot
stop
contact me, so
smoking
that's a
around
lie.
the children.
Okay, all right, stop. Yes, sir.
Yes, it's for Susan.
Yes.
Susan, you indicate that you care about your children.
Yes.
In Casey's case, she wanted to quit, but they didn't give her opportunity. Did you ever thought about quitting to
Okay,
save your marriage and your children?
I have been in a position where, for the last couple of years, I want to quit, okay? Now, right now, and I don't know if anybody smokes knows the stress level of going through a custody battle. Plus, I just got this new job that's very high pressure, high power, and it's just, I want the custody battle to be over. It's going to be over in a few
But I guess
weeks.
his question
and
is,
I will-
without all of that, the question
When I'm
really
ready.
is, you know you're going to go to court, and the
Yes.
court is going to ask you, the point blank, if you're going to smoke, you're going to lose custody. So that what he's saying is, knowing that, why not just put a patch on and try your damnedest?
I am
to
going, but, okay, right now, it's not the issue of my smoking around children. He does not know when I smoke, where I smoke. He doesn't know the lengths and responsibility I take to protect my children. The thing is, he wants to dictate how I live
No, I
and
don't.
how I breathe.
Excuse me, I think the whole thing's just a whipping post.
It is.
It really is, because we smoked before we were married. We smoked the whole time we were married
He
while we were
kissed
having
the
children.
ashtray.
You know, why all of a sudden in divorce, when there's no other grounds that they can get you on, do they take it away on that?
And that
This
might be
isn't the
part of
only
it. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll meet a man who says smoking in front of children, whether the ladies want to agree or not, is a pure form of child abuse. That's what he says. We'll meet him when we come back. We'll be back right after this. We were talking about smoking and smoking in custody battles. And again, before we went to the break, we were talking about the fact that Casey lost her child in a custody battle because she smoked. Whereas if you were an alcoholic and had a history of alcohol abuse, that may not be one of the reasons why someone would say you're going to lose your child. Well, joining us right now are two people who have very different opinions about smoking. Please welcome Joseph Cherner and also Sue Henderson to the show. And Joe, you say that for a person to smoke around kids, it's child abuse.
Well, absolutely it can be, Montel. Child abuse doesn't have to be broken bones and black and blue marks. A child who goes to the hospital repeatedly, hooked up to a respirator, and has a doctor say to his parents, the reason your child is here is simply because you refuse not to smoke around your child. That can be a form of child abuse. Now, at the other end of the spectrum, a parent that goes outside to smoke and doesn't do it around their children or tries to minimize it around their children, no, that's not a form of child abuse.
But Dwayne shook his head up and down and said people smoke around kids, that's child abuse. And if that's a fact, that's what his ex-wife is doing. She's going outside. She's trying to minimize the amount of smoke around her kids. And KC wasn't even offered an option one way or the other and was stripped of her kids. Do you think this should have happened in both cases or should have happened in this case?
Well, put yourself in a judge's shoes, Montel. One parent is going to get custody, one parent's not. A judge has to decide which is a better home for this child. If the child is asthmatic or suffers other respiratory problems that are aggravated by the smoke, wouldn't you as a judge take that into consideration? Maybe it's not the only issue, but wouldn't it be an issue that you would take into consideration?
I'd also take
I'd like to hear the judge's
I'd also take the
version.
issue that the child needs to have both
Excuse me,
parents, especially in a divorce.
I need to clarify something here.
Yes. Right.
When I lost custody of my son, I quit smoking. I had moved into a house. I had, a three-bedroom house, a room for my son. When my son moved into his father's house, his sister and brother-in-law and their two children had then moved in there. Even though it was a temporary arrangement, I understand, they were both smokers. He had a wood-burning stove there. The doctor also said wood-burning stove could be hazardous. Smoke. Secondhand smoke, right?
I don't know your case in particular. I'd love to hear the judge's version, but if it is, as you say it is, it seems like the judge has made a poor decision. But I'd love to hear the judge's version of the story just to hear both sides. But it's hard for me to know because I don't know your case.
Joseph, I want to ask you a question because it really strikes out at me just a little bit. Maybe I'm a little off base when I ask this, but it just seems to me like this is going to be the 90s and the year 2000 issue for men to try to find an equal playing field. And when a man doesn't get what he wants in a divorce settlement, I can get at that woman. I know how to get her. She smokes. Bingo. And I'm going after her.
But Montel, mine's not even over yet.
Go with you, answer. Right.
I'm sorry.
Montel, this works both ways. This works if the ex-wife smokes, or if the ex-husband smokes. This works both ways. There are plenty of cases where the wife doesn't want the husband to have custody because the husband smokes. It's not a gender issue, it's a health issue.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
My brother has been a chronic asthmatic for almost 21 years. Neither of my parents smoke. They smoked when he was very young. He was born with this. Cigarette smoking does not cause asthma. Asthma is a respiratory disease. It has nothing to do with smokers in the household at all. At all.
Well,
Okay.
most people are going to have to make up their mind whether they believe you and people like the tobacco industry, or whether they believe the Surgeon General,
But you don't
the World
understand.
Health
I lived through
Organization,
this
the
with my
American
brother
Cancer
for 20
Society,
years.
the National
In and out
Academy
of
of
the hospital.
Sciences, the American Heart
I'm sorry,
Association.
I don't agree with
the
you.
I know you don't
Now, are
agree
you
with
just
these
getting yours
organizations.
Well, I just want to say my brother was one of the top 10 worst cases in the country for asthma.
Whether you believe the primary
We flew
smoking
to
causes
Denver,
cancer, don't you?
Colorado, where
Okay.
the National
Joseph,
Asthma
are you
Center is located
educated
in
in
Denver,
this field?
Colorado.
And they said that
And they said cigarette smoking absolutely does not cause asthma.
Okay.
Yes, it can trigger an asthma attack if you are already an asthmatic. It does not
Well,
cause
according
asthma.
to the Environmental Protection Agency report that was released this year, they say that secondhand smoke causes up to 300,000 asthma cases a year in this country in children.
Okay.
Now, you just have to decide who to believe. You can either
Okay.
believe the tobacco industry or the health industry.
Okay, Joe. Now, Sue, you feel that this is like really just another one of those whipping post things, right?
As an attorney, I don't see smoking at all. I'm zeroing straight in on discrimination. And as an attorney, I am appalled that the judicial system seems to have bought hook, line, and sinker some EPA passive smoke report. What happened to our constitutional rights here? All of us are innocent until proven guilty. We have a right to come into a court of law with our facts and then have this proof offered against us. When a judge says to a mother, you are a smoker, therefore you cannot have custody of your children. In effect, what that judge has told that mother, or as Joe says, it can be turned the other way, it's a weapon, to that father, in effect, that judge has said, I have charged you, I have tried you, I have convicted you, and I am now pronouncing judgment. This whole issue is blowing huge holes through our Constitution. The country was founded on tolerance. What happened to our reasonableness where we sit down and reason together?
When children are involved. So we got to take a break. We have to take a break. When we come back, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to continue to ask what happened to our reasonableness, but we're also going to meet a young man who's 13 years old, and his dad can go to jail if he smokes around him, because there's a judgment now put on his dad to not smoke, and the 13-year-old boy is the policeman in this. We'll be back right after this. We've been talking about the issue of smoking in custody, and one of the things I think that we're really failing to even look at here is really a mother's feeling or a father's feeling. I'm sorry we couldn't find a father to be here to come and address this, but Casey, from your perspective, I mean, and just what Susan said, you have been tried and convicted not only of being a smoker, but you're essentially been called all over the country, and now you are the landmark case of being the first bad parent. I want to ask her. I mean, you are now a bad parent, and the whole world is being told you're a bad parent because you smoke.
Did smoke.
Did smoke. Now, how do you think this is going to affect your relationship with your child?
Well, it's already slanted the relationship with my son. It's very difficult to go to school even and participate in any of his school activities because I get looked at. Prejudice. You know, like there's something wrong with her because she doesn't have custody.
And I mean, does your son now wonder or ask you if, well, Mommy, why are you so bad, or?
Well, he's 8 years old now, and he understands a little bit more of what's going on, and I've had to sit, you know, I didn't want him involved in this at all, and I have a very difficult time trying to keep him out of it, and I just...
Montel, what I see here in this whole issue is that we have some active group out here that's inciting some type of action, and in effect what they're doing is they're teaching us to now hate another group. And I thought that our country had learned that lesson once during the Prohibition, another time during the Joe McCarthyism of the 50s. And I thought we were done with that.
Montel, let me give you an actual case. Put yourself in the situation of a judge, in this case, Denton, Maryland. The couple was smoking around their daughter. The daughter was repeatedly going to the hospital. The doctor told the judge, it's not a question if your daughter is going to die. It's a question of when. He put the child in a foster home and said to the parents, you can have your child back only if you quit smoking. And the parents said, this is a craving, I can't do without it. And they chose their cigarettes.
Okay, all right. So, I mean,
what are you doing?
You can give me a million
like
streams. I'll give you another one. One is with the case we have right here. That's what we're dealing with. And what we're dealing with right here is a woman, Susan, whose son had some sort of an attack that wasn't identified by a doctor as asthma or not, has not had another one since. The same child has been around her. She smokes outside.
Right. So let the judge take all that into account and decide which home would be better. Right. Maybe Susan's home would be better. Maybe Dwayne's home would be better. But let the judge at least take that information into account in making his decision.
Okay, and then the judge says, okay, wait a minute. Then if we're going to do that, I tell you what, there is a history of high cholesterol in your family. Your family.
That means
and I understand it. You cook and eat a lot of fried food.
Okay.
So you think
oh my goodness!
Don't eat. You think a judge should completely ignore whether a child gets sick from secondhand smoke?
Most definitely. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I think the most important thing that's been said today is that the children should come first. Me and my brother here.
Stand up, brother. This is the brother. Yes.
I'm the younger, and after I was born, about 2 years later, my father started smoking. And, you know, after a while, it started to become a serious problem. And then when I was 10 years old, my brother was 12, my parents ended up getting a divorce, and most of the reason was because of his smoking. And then after the divorce was kind of messy, and after the custody and everything, I ended up living with my father, and he went.
You live with your mother?
Yeah.
So
and
you're.
So we were, you know, we'd see each other every once in a while or whatever. We lived in different towns, like they, you know, lived in one town, my mom, and my dad lived in another town. So now that we're older, we see each other a lot, but.
But the real root of this divorce was over the smoking issue?
All the arguments
That's
went
how it
back to,
started.
like, smoking.
I mean, before my dad started smoking, my dad would say, our mom would say, when she'd say, you know, that there was never really any problems until the smoking came about. I just want to say to Casey, I think I'm really proud of you that, you know, you did all that to get your child back. So I think that's the most important thing.
But she still has not gotten the child back.
Well, I mean, she's trying. That's what I mean. Yeah.
That's most important.
Right.
If the issue is the children, you know, I have a question for Dwayne. How come the babysitter came to me very concerned and said, you know, Shane came to me today and said, you know, that his daddy says Pepsi's not good for him, but beer is. And when she asked him how he knew about that, because Daddy lets him drink beer. How can he condone drinking beer, but criticize me for smoking? He's gonna start the alcoholic drink in a 4-year-old.
Right. Yes,
What
ma'am.
I hear here in this couple, with Susan being the reasonable person and Dwayne coming on as someone who has a lot of hate, and that's what I'm saying. He does.
Okay, and I understand that, but see, I go back to Justin, and the issue of smoking is an important one, and we're going to have to wrestle with that for the next 10, 20 years in society. But again, when you say let a judge decide, here I go with cholesterol. Okay, cholesterol is an issue. Everybody's come. One doctor 1 week says cholesterol is a problem. Let me finish my point. The next doctor says it's not. This doctor says that cholesterol, okay, so that means that if I have a propensity in my family for high cholesterol, or, forget that, high blood pressure, a judge should make a decision.
There are only 8 group A carcinogens classified by the EPA. One of those 8 is secondhand smoke. The others are asbestos, radon, arsenic.
Okay.
Would you like your child to be living in a home with asbestos?
So now, next, are they going to say
well?
we cannot drive in traffic during rush hour traffic with our windows open because our children are going to bring in carbon
All right, so we
monoxide?
have to take a break. Well, we'll take a break so we can hear one person. We'll be back right after this. We've been talking about smoking and the controversy it's been causing in custody battles, and you had a question or a comment.
Yeah, this is for Dwayne. I just have a question. He says he's worried about the children's health. Does he really think it's healthy to come on TV and bash his mother like this?
I'm not bashing their mother. I'm just asking her to take their interest in their health and put it in priority position and stop smoking around them.
But if
Just
Dwayne
plain and
wants that
simply.
done, I think that we ought to run some tests on what stress does to people. My doctor has said that stress is causing more major medical events than my smoking ever will.
And I'm not putting them in a stressful situation.
You don't
They
think
don't even
this
know
is
what's going on.
Stress is causing the heart attacks and the
Keep them
stroke.
away from this television when the show airs, because I'm telling you, you said that the mother was worthless, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what you said.
They don't even know what's going on.
You got it. They will after this.
If
I'll tell you what, let me hold on for just a second. I want to, somebody's joining us right now. His name is Mr. Alex Isaacson, and by law, his father can't smoke anywhere around him. And Isaac, what'll happen if your father lights up? I'm sorry, Alex, what'll happen if your father lights up?
Well, I tell my mother, and then she tells her lawyer, and the lawyers tell the judge, and he can be put in contempt of court. And depending upon what the judge is like, he could put him in jail, and if he wants, it's his judgment how long he's in jail for.
No, wait, stop for a second. Please, stop for a second, both of you. Now, you basically then know at age 13 that at this moment I can have Dad go to jail, right?
Yes.
So when you're out on the ball field or something, Dad is 50 yards away from you, but not 100 yards away from you.
Yeah.
50 yards away from you, you're playing baseball, he's in the stands, there are 5 other people sitting around him smoking. You see Dad smoking, and you say to Mom, he was smoking, I was on the field, but he was smoking, your dad could go to jail.
Yeah, exactly. He can't, you know, just because I'm with him and he's not by me doesn't mean he can smoke. It's the fact that he has custody of me for that period of time that he can't smoke even if I'm away from him.
Okay, so therefore the court is also saying that your father has to present the example that it wants them to present.
Yeah.
Which means not showing you an example of smoking.
Exactly.
It's like, no, I'm going to hold you out of here for a second because now I've got to ask Joseph this. We are making a 13-year-old a police officer for his father, and we're also saying that a court can stipulate the behavior that a father has. The behavior. You think that's okay?
Well, what the court has said is that during Alex's visits, the father cannot smoke. And Alex is obviously the only one that knows whether the father's smoking during the visits. So you make it sound like police. It's not really police.
No, it is police.
No, it isn't. No, wait a second. It isn't police. It's a son who's with his father who was the original person who requested that something be done because Alex has some diseases that were bothered by his father's smoke. So Alex requested it to begin with. And this is the way the judge, and put yourself again in the position of a judge. This is difficult.
I'm not a judge, so I can't do it.
Okay, but custody is difficult to begin with. Put yourself in trying to decide just with common sense, not as a judge, but as a person, what do you do for Alex to try to help Alex?
I do exactly what I've asked.
That's what I'm advocating
I think the judge has probably done the right thing. If he's got some illnesses, that the father shouldn't smoke around him. But again, this says around him.
That's how I feel.
Hold it, around him. There's not one report on this planet
I
that
agree
says...
with you. Don't say that I agree with what
No, but I'm saying there's not one report on this planet that says...
the father should not be allowed to smoke around him. But 50, 100 yards away, well,
Stop.
he feels is a different
Yeah,
issue.
if he's on a baseball field and the father's 3 blocks down the street with 4 other guys while he's playing baseball...
But if they're in the car together, what if they're in the car together?
That's
we
a good
agree
point.
100%, Montel. You and I agree 100%.
As an attorney, the legal grounds for an injunction is you must come into the courtroom and you must prove some irreparable harm before you can have the injunction. They're using this in the reverse. They're putting this injunction in, and then the injunction's what's causing the irreparable harm. It's asking this young man to be a policeman, a cigarette cop, if you will, and it's causing all the much more, all the additional stress that's already there from the divorce. That's what I'm saying. We're into a discrimination issue.
My problem with this is a child.
Gotcha.
This is not an adult.
Hold right there.
You're making a child make a decision.
We'll be back right after this. We've been talking about custody battles and smoking, and I want to thank all of our guests, Susan, Dwayne, Casey, Joseph, Sue, and Alex for being here and helping us with the show. This is a tough one. I think the jury's going to be out for a while, but I sure hope that this society doesn't become one where just because we're in a divorce, we go to court and try to dictate people's behavior. If it jeopardizes a child, I think that should be something that should be entered into the courtroom. But I just can't see, in a year from now, somebody saying, don't, you eat too much Kentucky Fried Chicken, so too much grease, and you're done. I can see somebody in next week saying that, you had this problem and that problem. I just think that we got to really look at this rationally and handle divorce the way it is. And with that, please join us on the next Montel Show.